right now on 5 on your side at 10.
You are looking live at the airport where it is quiet now, but that will all change by morning. That is why we begin tonight and weather impact alert. Widespread rain is rolling in. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with your weather impact forecast.
You know, it's going to be the remnants of Beryl that we deal with heading into early tomorrow. Right now, that storm centered down near Texarkana. Winds are down to 35 miles per hour, but a tremendous amount of moisture is being tossed our way. And the track of Beryl from the Hurricane Center takes it just to the south and east of St. Louis, which means we're on the side of heavy rainfall. Severe weather is likely to stay farther to the south. Right now, your severe weather threat is down across portions of Louisiana into southern portions of Arkansas. That'll head towards southern portions of Missouri and southern portions of Illinois tomorrow, while the heavier rain slides towards St. Louis. The entire day tomorrow is wet. Heavy tropical rain, very efficient rainfall producing thunderstorms, 2 to 4 inches of rain. That will cause additional flooding concerns, so clear those gutters, clear the storm drains. This is what this afternoon storms look like down in Arnold as they came in, producing heavy rain and gusty winds. And this is about the last we've heard from the camera down in Arnold after those gusty winds and rain blew in right here. There it is with a heavy rain, and then we lost our signal from the camera. As much as 2 to 3 inches of rainfall down to the south of St. Louis and southwest of St. Louis. Still have a flash flood warning down in northeastern portions of Phelps County, although we haven't had any flooding reports there. This is all very light rain right now. It won't pick up really until after 3 a.m., but tomorrow, heavy rain's on the way.
And that heavy rain caused problems in unincorporated Jefferson County. Trees down, schools flooded, and tonight, kids were trapped inside a daycare in House Springs due to flash flooding.
Annie Krall has been there since it all started. What is the situation now, Annie?
Well, I'm standing on Indian Springs Road in House Springs, and right now, as you can see behind me, there is a tree just completely down across the road, roots up and the power lines down with it. I spoke to a mother just a few hours ago who had her 3 children trapped inside that daycare as first responders tried to quickly get to them because of the flash flooding. Trying to wait out the rain at work in House Springs, mother Ashley Weibley was caught in traffic backed up for at least half a mile on Main Street around 5:15 on Monday.
I pull up and there is just water everywhere, and my first instinct is like, oh my gosh, my babies are in there. There's no way to get in. Water's going way too fast.
All 3 of her children were at Apple of His Eye Daycare on Church Road. First responders say flash flooding caused Bear Creek to rise drastically.
They were talking about getting search and rescue, so then my anxiety gets a little bit higher.
Ashley told us there were about 3 or 4 other kids, along with 3 adults, trapped. Blocks away on Indian Springs Road, a mobile home park had to have many of its residents evacuated because of the flooding. Warren Robinson, the Jefferson County Director of Emergency Management, told us. A massive tree down across the road blocked traffic. Valley Middle School also got hit hard by the flash flooding right outside its doors. Thankfully, it was quiet with school being out, but Ashley was relieved things weren't worse.
Immediately started praying, got a hold of the daycare provider. She's also the pastor there, and started talking to her, and she's like, all the kids are good, everything's good. And she just told me that they're eating hot dogs right now and we're about to go get them, so. As House Springs continues to deal with this kind of damage, there are thousands of people without power right now, including the folks who are just off this street. It is completely dark out here, as well as a number of local businesses, gas stations, and even some fast food restaurants. Cameron tells us that they have 6,200 customers without service across Missouri right now. Reporting live in House Springs, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
An assistant fire chief was killed in the line of duty this morning in Columbia, Missouri, while responding to a water rescue. Matthew Tobin worked for the Boone County Fire Protection District. Tobin was part of a crew trying to rescue 2 people on the north side of Columbia when the boat capsized.
All 4 occupants of the boat were thrown out at that point. Chief Tobin never did resurface once he was thrown out. He did make one attempt to grab a tow line, but after that, he was not seen again.
Tobin was the Bureau Director of Training and was hired by the district on May 1st. He had previously worked in Union as a firefighter for 19 years and has been a member of Missouri Task Force 1 since 2012.
And you can get your forecast on your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 anytime.
A violent holiday weekend rocked downtown St. Louis with thousands of police calls on a mass shooting early Friday that injured 7 people. Tonight, city leaders, including the circuit attorney and police chief, held a town hall meeting to address downtown residents' concerns. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski was at that meeting. Laura.
Mike, St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy says they're already reviewing the incidents that unfolded this weekend. And like they do with any big event, they're going to have to adapt and change so that this doesn't happen again. Between July 4th and 7th, St. Louis police say they had more than 3,700 calls for service. 24 people were shot, 37 people were arrested downtown, and 19 juveniles were booked between the 4th and the 6th.
But holistically, we got to find out what's going on. Why are juveniles downtown? Why are young adults coming down? Nothing good happens after midnight, and we're going to continue to push people out of the parks.
Police Chief Robert Tracy says as far as juveniles go, they're going to take a look at the agreement they made with the Juvenile Detention Center to make sure kids aren't just being released to their parents, as that did happen with a couple of them this weekend.
Things did change. I'm going to do another review to make sure things haven't gone back to the way they are, and we're actually in conversation. We're having a meeting to make sure that we're doing everything we can.
James Page with the Downtown Neighborhood Association says what happened this weekend was disturbing.
The wanton use of illegal fireworks, the mass shootings that took place, those are disturbing to me and other residents of downtown St. Louis.
Page says he wants to see more collaboration between all city leaders. I talked with Mayor Tashara Jones, Chief of Staff Jared Boyd, who says everyone does have to work together.
Do you think the police dropped the ball here?
I don't think the police dropped the ball. I think the police can learn from the actions that occurred this weekend, and they've already made adjustments to some of their weekend tactics, and I think as a result you saw less issues on Friday and Saturday. But I must reiterate that the police cannot do this work alone.
Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore told the crowd at the town hall meeting they're working well with SLMPD to hold people accountable and will continue to do so.
The officers who are on the job, who are out there every day working to serve the citizens of St. Louis, the one thing they've really appreciated is that they now know that their work will have an impact, that when they apply for warrants and bring cases to our office, they will be acted upon.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer says things downtown are feeling lawless.
We got a handle on it. So the first step really is to recognize we have a problem. We have, the Board of Aldermen has okayed recently a budget that includes the hiring of a couple thousand additional city employees. We have the budget for that, so we need to go out there and fill those positions to be able to do the job that our citizens expect that we can do.
A total of 39 firearms were seized citywide, and many of them were reported stolen. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Businesses are feeling the impact of the violence downtown, but many say they aren't going anywhere. Bullets were flying during 4th of July festivities. Windows were knocked out at several businesses, one of them Ucraft. The building now has boarded up windows. Longtime bar owner Kevin Lease with Jack Patrick's is also concerned and says something has to change.
We finally feel like we got past the pandemic, and then now we've got a whole new set of problems with the crime is just out of control. When these big stories happen and they make the news, you know, somebody who's not from this area is like, you know, maybe I'll skip that because it doesn't look very safe.
Ucraft says it has no plans to leave. It just signed a 10-year lease.
A man already facing felony gunfire charges in Illinois was arrested on a downtown rooftop overlooking the crowded 4th of July parade route. St. Louis police took Trenston Sappington into custody and seized 2 illegal guns.
Tonight, political editor Mark Maxwell reveals he was already known to authorities, raising questions about how he still had access to those guns in the first place.
Thousands of people packed the streets of downtown St. Louis last Thursday to celebrate Independence Day. Overhead, on the roof of this parking garage at 604 Pine, Trenston Sappington held 2 semi-automatic pistols in a bag with a bird's-eye view of the parade route. Police would not tell us how much ammunition he had when they took him into custody, but a law enforcement source tells 5 on your side that responding officers found him armed and overlooking a large crowd of people and appeared to be in a depressive state and possibly in a mental health crisis. He was due in court to face felony charges the next day.
There is a cross-river crime problem. It's just the reality.
Madison County State's Attorney Tom Hain had charged Sappington with 2 Class 4 felonies last month. Court records allege Sappington fired a gun into this crowded Alton intersection in January. Police conducted an investigation and issued a warrant for his arrest 2 months later in March. And last month, campus police at SIU Edwardsville pulled him over for expired tags. Under Illinois' new law that abolishes cash bail, prosecutors can ask a judge to detain someone who uses a firearm in the commission of a crime. Hain did not. Sappington had no FOID card. The conditions of his release said transporting a gun under indictment is a federal crime.
People violate the conditions of their release all the time.
So those stolen firearms are logged in that system.
Shannon Hamm is the assistant special agent in charge at the ATF. When St. Louis police found Sappington on that rooftop with guns and no concealed carry permit, they seized his guns and ran a background check. One came back stolen. The other matches the description of the gun fired in Alton 6 months ago.
One of the charging offenses for a person possessing a firearm is that it did cross state lines or affected interstate commerce. So it would be a federal statute under that point that we could investigate and charge federally.
And Sappington's defense attorney in Illinois said he was not aware his client had been arrested. He is no longer in custody tonight. We are told charges are pending in St. Louis. In Illinois, State's Attorney Hain says, quote, "We have filed a petition to revoke the defendant's pretrial release, asking that he be held pending the resolution of these cases."
A tree on the tracks forces an Amtrak train to derail. This happened just before 5 in Washington, Missouri. There were 124 people and 5 crew members on board at the time. We're told no one was injured. The train operates daily routes between Chicago and Kansas City via St. Louis. It was on its way from Kansas City when it derailed.
Making moves to protect your home from summer heat and storms.
It can be a little bit expensive to install, but save thousands in the long run.
Consumer Reports shares some of the best tips to keep your home safe year-round. President Biden doubling down on the 2024 presidential race. His message to those calling for him to bow out.
Our weather impact alert continues as tropical moisture from Beryl surges toward our area. We're tracking when the heaviest rain will move into St. Louis and the problems it's expected to bring.
Right now, police are investigating 6 businesses burglarized overnight in Florissant. Some of those businesses include a Subway, Qdoba, and Brennan's Bar and Grill. Many of the businesses had the front door smashed. Police say they're investigating whether the crimes are connected. One old owner told us she is worried employees will be afraid to come to work now.
It definitely does, jeopardize what we're trying to do here in the community. And, we're all about giving back. And when things like this happen, does it deter us from that? Definitely not. But it could, make employees feel less safe coming to work. And that's definitely not what we want.
Florissant police continue to look through surveillance video.
President Biden is standing firm ahead of a busy week, asserting he's not stepping aside. On MSNBC's Morning Joe this morning, he tried to decisively address concerns from Democratic lawmakers about his candidacy. Doubts surfaced after a rather underwhelming performance in the recent debate with former President Donald Trump.
I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
The president will host NATO leaders this week in Washington. Then on Thursday, he will hold a news conference.
Well, summer can mean fun in the sun, but it can also mean dangerous heat and severe storms. There are ways, however, to protect yourself and your home.
Consumer Reports explains that a good defense against Mother Nature's wrath starts with DIY projects around the house.
Climate change brings more frequent and destructive weather from coast to coast. That's led to a dramatic increase in many homeowners' insurance policies. But that price hike doesn't mean you're getting more coverage.
Homeowners insurance generally doesn't cover water coming from outside of your house, so it's not a bad idea to supplement your coverage with a flood policy.
Even without a flood, extreme heat can damage water in surprising ways, specifically with your plumbing. Take metal pipes. They can expand and contract and over time leak.
You want to inspect your plumbing routinely or have a plumber do it on a recurring basis. You can also install leak detectors, which will let you know immediately if there is a leak. They can be a little bit expensive to install, but save thousands in the long run.
Consumer Reports recommends this leak detector from Moen. Extreme heat can wreak havoc on your roofing even when the weather is dry. It's essential to inspect it, look for damaged shingles or tiles, and replace them before they leak and cause more damage. The heat could overtax your air conditioning system. Regularly replacing the air filters and scheduling routine professional maintenance will help avoid pricey repairs later on. High heat and humidity can also create the ideal conditions for mold and mildew.
You want to keep the humidity inside your home between 30 and 50%. Anything higher and mold and dust mites can thrive.
CR tests dozens of dehumidifiers and found that this Medea for larger rooms does a great job of removing water from the air, which helps maintain the ideal humidity in your home.
And if you're concerned about power outages, a portable generator can help power the essentials in your home. You want to store a generator in a clean, dry, and ventilated spot that you can easily access, but it could not be attached to your house. You'll also want to have at least 10 gallons of fresh gasoline on hand in a safety container, adding fuel stabilizer to help it last as long as possible.
Hurricane Beryl has now been downgraded to a tropical depression, but the storm is still packing a punch as it rolled through Texas today. It dropped heavy rain, brought strong winds, and a high storm surge. Power is knocked out to at least 3 million people across Texas.
And power is still out for some tonight after strong winds knocked down a few trees and power lines during our afternoon round of storms. This is video from Eureka. Crews will be out overnight working to get the lights back ahead of tomorrow's heavy rain.
And we are in a weather impact alert. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us again with the weather impact forecast.
We're pretty quiet right now around St. Louis. We have just a little bit of light rain here and there, but the focus is down to our south at this point. What we'll see for the next 3 to 5 hours, what we're seeing right now, patches of lighter rain. The flash flooding we had earlier, the severe weather we had earlier, that has eased for the time being. But now we're tracking the center of what's left of Beryl, and we're continuing to pull that moisture up and across the region. So as we go through the overnight hours, we're going to see the rainfall increase. And by the time we get into early tomorrow and through the day tomorrow, we're going to add up rainfall across the region. 2 to 4 inches looks pretty widespread in a band, somewhere along 44. Amounts may vary a little bit. And as you go farther north and west, depending on the exact track of Beryl, that'll determine exactly who sees the heaviest rain. But we do think 2 to 4 inches seems like a pretty good band for most of us to be under with this heavy, very efficient rainfall maker, tropical rains. So clean those gutters if you haven't already, the storm drains. Make sure the water can flow away from your house if that's an option. Not everybody has that option. And with the rain we had today, that already sets the stage for, yes, the ground being wet and the water running off and just kind of causing flooding problems for tomorrow. So if you normally have flooding issues when there's heavy rain, tomorrow you're going to have problems more likely than not. Here it comes at 3 a.m. Our futurecast brings that heavier rain in as we head towards tomorrow morning's rush hour, really picking up down to our south, closer to the center of the track of what's left of Beryl. As we head through the midday hours, we're thinking 11 o'clock, noon, 1, 2 o'clock in St. Louis. That's when we're going to be looking at our heaviest rainfall, and we could be looking at rainfall rates on the order of 2 to 4 inches an hour. Now, it won't stay like that the entire time, but that certainly does add up, and that's why a flood watch is in effect for the potential of flash flooding for all of our area, with the exception of Bowling Green. Timeline here, really, as we go to late morning, right around lunchtime through the mid-afternoon, that's when the heaviest rainfall is likely to occur. And as far as the severe weather threat, that should be south and east of the track of the storm, so that takes it across southern portions of Illinois. Should be just out of our area for severe weather tomorrow, but we will be tracking and monitoring. 74 right now, 88 was the high today. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. Well, you have your weather impact alert for tomorrow. Mid-70s will do it for the high with all the rain around. Again, don't drive through flooded roads tomorrow. We don't want any water rescues having to be made around here. Wednesday, we do dry out. By the end of the week, into the weekend, we're back into the mid-90s for highs, and it's steamy again. So,
of course.
It is July.
It is July.
Yeah. Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
We have a legendary high school basketball coach leaving to go coach at a JUCO. The Cardinals can't be stopped, and either can a goalie from Francis Howell High School. We'll be right back.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
You would have to be a pretty negative person to say something bad about the Cardinals tonight. Win another series, 6 games over 500, 4.5 behind the Brewers, and they got back Lars Nootbaar today for the finale against the Nationals. But he's not playing center field, not with the stallion named Michael Ciani out there. He's got about 15 to 20 great catches this season, including 2 more today. Miles Michaelis salutes Ciani, but Miles deserved a salute also. 6 1/3 scoreless with no walks. Ali Marmol believes there will be a time this season that Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado will carry this team. Goldie 2 hits and that homer, 2 0 cards in the 4th. This guy has already carried the team. Alec Burleson, 2 hits, 3 RBIs, including his 14th home run of the season. And that man, Brendan Donovan, is back. He's been on base 21 straight games. Cards roll 6-0. Miles on Ciani.
He's doing some incredible stuff out there in center field. He's quickly become my youngest son. He's his second favorite player, maybe his most favorite, but we're still just going to assume that I'm his favorite.
I assume a St. Louis kid, a Francis Howe grad, and a former St. Louis University student is one of the best goalies in the United States, because today Patrick Schulte was officially named to Team USA for the Olympics. He's only 23 years old. He was a 2-sport star at Francis Howe. What a 3-point shooter for my friend Kurt Jacob. He may have been the best player in the A-10 for Kevin Kalish and the Billikens. And last year, his Columbus team won the MLS. He told me this morning that he is pumped for Paris.
Our first game's against France, the host country, so it's going to be even more special because they're going to have 70,000 fans behind them. But yeah, just obviously putting on Team USA jersey and being on the field is definitely going to have some chills, but definitely just a lot of excitement just to be able to be there in that moment.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
There weren't many moments to savor for the City Reds last night in Colorado. John Klein had one of them. Klein, a teammate of Schulte's at SLU, scored his first goal in MLS play. There were many reasons to celebrate, but the loss tempered his big moment.
My family was in the crowd, and that's a moment I'll never forget. But at the end of the day, it's a 4-1 loss on the road. While I was happy with the goal, kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to impact any other scoring chances.
Let's head to Mineral Area Junior College. That is the first time I've made that statement. But look who is there. Their new basketball coach is Tony Irons. Yes, the same Tony Irons who won 5 consecutive state titles at Vashon. The man has coached high school basketball for 15 years and has 8 state titles. I asked him this morning, I got up early, why the move?
This is one of those situations where if I want to be a college coach, I have to bet on myself and take chances. And that's what it is. It's actually taking a chance. And again, I know what I can do on the high school level. I want to continue to get better. I want to continue to challenge myself and grow as a coach. And that means getting outside of my comfort zone.
Sometimes the best way to get a raise is to threaten to leave. Although I tried it once a while back and my boss said, "We're going to miss you, Frank." Anyway, Danny Hurley flirted with the Lakers, and today UConn gave him a new contract worth $50 million. Kind of helps he's won back-to-back national titles and is the best coach in America. American Taylor Fritz lost the first 2 sets at Wimbledon today, but then put on an epic rally. He won the next 3 to advance to the quarterfinals. He joins Tommy Paul in the final 8. It's the first time in 24 years 2 U.S. males have reached that far in the same year. And that'll do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks. We'll have a final look at your weather impact forecast when we come back. Tonight we remember an American hero, Combat Marine Gunnery Sergeant Charlie Kohler. I was lucky enough to meet him as he told me about the Battle of Iwo Jima, where he was wounded, but witnessed the iconic flag racing on Mount Suribachi. He was a St. Louis native, and before the war, he was an all-star baseball player signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers and an undefeated Golden Gloves boxer. He later started up a successful printing company. Charlie Kohler leaves behind a legacy of courage, service, and success. He died this past weekend, just short of his 103rd birthday.
Well, the St. Louis Zoo is welcoming 4 endangered wolf pups to its Wildlife Reserve. The 4 American red wolves were born last spring in the first ever breeding season at the reserve. Today, only about 20 red wolves are still in the wild. Zoo officials say the 4 pups are happy and healthy after their first checkups.
And Scott has one final check of our weather.
Right now, there's just one flash flood warning in effect down in Phelps County, northeast of Rolla, but we haven't had any reports of flooding there recently. And the rain we're going to see in the next few hours is not going to cause any flooding. But that rain coming up with what's left of Beryl, that's going to produce flooding tomorrow. The entire day is soggy. Look for 2 to 4 inches of rainfall with locally higher amounts. So water's going to have a hard time draining tomorrow and ponding on the roads for sure, morning rush hour and the evening rush hour.
Be careful. There you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m.